Thanks, Kai. We are getting ready for a cool start to the weekend tomorrow with temperatures reaching the mid-40s, but will rebound to the 50s on Saturday and Sunday. You've got the green light for travel over the weekend as we deal with dry weather across the state and much of the region. However, next week, we have our next weather maker. I'll let you know how it looks for Christmas and when to expect rain coming up in my full forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, criminals find new ways to steal cars in Baltimore. Victims describe the moment their tow truck was stolen. And a teacher at a Baltimore school found with a loaded gun, according to authorities. Why parents are concerned about violence in city schools.
New tonight, a teacher arrested after bringing a loaded weapon to work, the latest in a disturbing trend of guns inside Baltimore City schools. Continuing coverage of an adult suspect in the Brooklyn Homes mass shooting moving to a juvenile facility. Why victims' families are outraged. A payroll error shortchanges a retired BPD officer for tens of thousands of dollars. We hear from the Inspector General about the investigation.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Rebecca Pryor. An arrest today at Kip Harmony Academy after a teacher was found with a loaded gun. This is the 5th gun found inside of a Baltimore City school in just the last 2 days. Fox 45's Amy Simpson reports.
That employee has not been identified, but the district says the gun was found by another employee before classes started this morning.
It was a half day of school at Kip Harmony Academy in West Baltimore today, but even those few hours of class wrapped in controversy. The elementary middle school placed on a soft lockdown after an employee of the charter school operator was arrested for bringing a weapon to the building. Sources tell Fox 45 News the gun was loaded.
I am extremely concerned about that. As a parent in the city, I know that we have a lot of challenges that we face, but it hits close to home when it's actually the school that your child is in.
This mom picking up her 6-year-old son, previously unaware of what happened inside his school today.
It has me thinking all types of things, like perhaps I need to be a parent from home, like, you know what I mean, like homeschooling. It's very concerning, very alarming, and I'm glad that no one was hurt. But yeah, I definitely think that more needs to be done, and it's alarming.
Another mom sharing this letter with Fox 45 News, saying she didn't receive notice of the gun arrest until 11:19 a.m., several hours after it happened. Students were not in the area when the weapon was found by another employee. The letter reads in part, the employee is facing criminal charges and will be held accountable by the school operator. Today's arrest at Kip Harmony among a slew of police incidents inside Baltimore City schools just this week. On Tuesday, a student arrested at Carver High School after allegedly stabbing another student and a teacher in the midst of a fight. And just yesterday, a 15-year-old student arrested for allegedly having 3 guns at Dunbar High School. A source close to that investigation telling Fox 45 News those weapons were loaded too. But back at Kip Harmony at dismissal, this grandfather also learning of today's arrest just before pickup.
It's not surprising because, again, what we're dealing with now with children bringing guns to school, and the staff themselves is now protecting themselves.
Telling Fox 45 News he wants to know more about the circumstances, aware of the violence inside other city schools over the last few days.
Find out what his story is. Was he fearful? Was he, frightened for his life? What was the cause? Because this is what's going on in school.
And in neighboring Anne Arundel County Public Schools, a substitute teacher was arrested for allegedly bringing a gun to class back in October. Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
The dealer didn't even know that we had the car. We called them and told them that it was gone, because you figure 200-300 cars on their lot, they can't tell if a car's missing right away.
A stolen tow truck used to steal a brand new vehicle from a Baltimore County car dealership. The brazen crime was even caught on camera. Take a look at this video. A tow truck stolen off of Pulaski Highway leads to a high-speed chase in northwest Baltimore. The tow truck was then tracked to an Acura dealership where the suspects used the truck to steal a 2024 Acura SUV. Ron Rucker of Auto Barn Towing says he believes that the theft had bigger plans.
I believe if they know what they were doing, that probably wasn't going to be their only car that night. They probably just going to keep making runs.
The suspect dropped the stolen Acura in the middle of the street as he was trying to get away, essentially crashing the tow truck and leaving behind his driver's license, which was turned over to Baltimore police. The family of Aaliyah Gonzalez, one of the 2 people killed in the Brooklyn Day mass shooting, demanding answers after a judge approves a motion to relocate one of the accused shooters back to DJS. At 18 years old, Tristan Jackson was legally an adult at the time of his alleged crimes, leading to the victim's loved ones to question why the legal system is still treating him like a juvenile.
On July 2nd, an annual block party turning tragic. Brooklyn Day celebrations abruptly ending with an eruption of gunfire that would mark the city's worst mass shooting in Baltimore's history. Among the 30 people shot, 21-year-old Khalees Fagbemi and 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez losing their lives. 6 months have now passed and 4 arrests have been made. But at a Fox 45 town hall,
my name is Rashawn Shelbourne. I am the older brother of Aaliyah Gonzalez.
The victim's family questioning if justice is truly being served and the suspects held accountable following a controversial court ruling.
I just seen earlier on the news today that Tristan Jackson, the 18-year-old who was 18 at the time of the shooting, he got sent back to juvenile, but the man is 6'5", 210 pounds, and he was 18 at the time of the shooting, and he also had an ankle monitor at the time. So I just don't understand why we're not stressing the importance of the biggest shooting in Baltimore history, and we're not making an example of the situation.
According to charging documents, police placing 18-year-old Tristan Jackson at the scene of the crime using GPS coordinates from an ankle bracelet the Department of Juvenile Services was supposed to be monitoring. Police also claiming video from CCTV surveillance cameras showed Jackson spraying 5 rounds in the direction of 7 unknown individuals who were fleeing. Facing 57 counts of attempted murder and weapons charges, in August, a judge deeming Jackson a danger to the community, holding him without bond in an adult facility. But last Friday, Judge Charles Bloomquist approving a motion to move Jackson to a juvenile facility.
Legally speaking, minors are minors and adults are adults. It just doesn't seem to follow the logical course of where most cases track.
The decision shocking local attorneys Fox 45 spoke with, who have no involvement in the case.
It is highly unusual for something like this to occur.
It would be extremely rare, no doubt.
And Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates, who in a statement to Fox 45 writing in part, quote, "We do not believe that an adult should be housed in a juvenile facility with children while he awaits trial on adult charges." Bates also warning due to capacity constraints inside DJS detention centers and PREA laws, which prohibit adult inmates from being housed where they would have sight, sound, or physical contact with juvenile inmates, Jackson could be released from DJS detention.
He can go home on an ankle monitor. That could theoretically happen, which I think is a very scary proposition.
Concerns likely being carefully considered by the administrative judge tasked with approving or denying the ruling, as the motion to move Jackson has been awaiting a final decision for almost a full week.
Today, a spokesperson for DJS sent me a statement in response to the potential relocation of Tristan Jackson. The statement reads in part, quote, "DJS cannot speak on a specific case due to confidentiality laws. What we can say is that DJS does not turn children away from detention. If the court orders a youth detained, they will be detained regardless of facility capacity." Breaking news tonight, Joseph Black, the Baltimore man accused of hitting and dragging a police officer with his car during a traffic stop, has been found not guilty on charges of attempted murder. The incident happened in June 2022 on Park Heights Avenue. Police say Black was armed when they pulled him over. He then tried to drive away, hitting an officer with the car, according to police. He also faced charges of possessing an illegal gun. The judge declared a mistrial on those charges. Civil rights attorney Billy Murphy has announced a lawsuit against BPD officer after he allegedly shot a grocery store manager nearly 3 years ago. Wesley Rosenberger was one of the officers who responded to a shooting at Compare Foods grocery store in January of 2021. Store manager Luis Rodriguez attorney says that Rosenberger was hiding behind a door waiting for the armed suspect to approach, but shot Rodriguez instead. Rodriguez and his attorney say that the shooting has had lasting effects.
This is a very serious situation that has ruled Luis's life for the past almost 3 years. It is something that affects him on a daily basis.
This incident has will never leave my mind, and it has changed my life forever.
They're seeking more than $75,000 in damages. Baltimore's Inspector General says an error by the Baltimore Police Department shortchanged a retired officer tens of thousands of dollars. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell spoke with the city's Inspector General and has the details on that report.
The Inspector General says her office doesn't normally investigate these types of complaints, but the former officer had no one else to turn to. The 4-year battle, she says, the result of a human error. Check paid. A former Baltimore police officer has received more than $40,000 from the city after an investigation by Baltimore's Inspector General. The OIG today releasing this report. It details this past October, the former BPD officer who had retired after 32 years of service reached out for help. Multiple attempts to receive their due compensation for accrued vacation days had failed. The amount? 114 days, which translates to tens of thousands of dollars. The OIG taking the officer's allegation to the Baltimore Police Department and the city's Department of Finance for review. In this report, the IG stated the office found upon the officer's vacation retirement date in November 2019, the BPD did not initiate a leave payout request for the officer's vacation leave balance. The DOF corroborated this information during the review of its records, which showed that no payout request was received from the BPD for the officer's accrued leave balance. The DOF determining the officer was in fact owed more than $40,800 for more than 111 days. The city responding to the finding in this memo, here offering some sort of explanation, writing, "It is possible that the legacy balance inaccurately zeroed out," and vowed to pay the retired officer. So upon further questioning, the Inspector General says a new payroll clerk never rolled over or logged those accrued hours when the former officer switched departments. She calls this payout a well-deserved Christmas gift. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Attacks on merchant ships in the Red Sea posing new threats to global supply chains. I'm Atra El-Nashar with how it could affect prices here in the U.S.
And over the next few hours, temperatures will drop to the upper 30s and the low 40s. We're in for a cold morning and a chilly day tomorrow. I'll let you know what to expect as we get closer to Christmas in my Weather Authority forecast.
Welcome back. Supply chains around the world face a new threat of attacks by a rebel group backed by Iran. It's sparking worries of a repeat of the economic turbulence that followed Russia's invasion of Ukraine. St. Clair national correspondent Atra El-Nashar joins us with the latest disruptions to commerce and how it could impact prices here in the U.S. Atra?
Hey, good evening, Rebecca. You know, companies around the world are getting really nervous about these attacks that we're seeing in the Red Sea and how much worse they could potentially get as Israel is doubling down on its goal of destroying Hamas. And in Gaza, the death toll is believed to have surpassed 20,000.
Fallout from the Israel-Hamas war sending shockwaves through the global economy with disruptions to one of the most important shipping routes in the world. About 30% of global container traffic passes through the Red Sea to Egypt's Suez Canal, according to UBS Group AG. Yemen-based Houthi rebels are ramping up attacks against ships on this route. The group says it will stop when Israel ends its attacks in Gaza.
A lot of oil, natural gas, liquid natural gas, and other petroleum products do go through that area, and those are part of sort of the global ecosystem, and that does affect prices here in the U.S.
Global oil prices rose this week on news that BP will reroute its tankers. In the U.S., after weeks of declines, the average gas price stands at $3.12, according to AAA, just 2 cents higher than last week. Shipping giant Maersk among those also rerouting vessels. IKEA says its shipments will be delayed and some products may not be available. For the most part, for now, it likely won't be felt much in the U.S. at a time when the Federal Reserve is in its home stretch of bringing inflation to a normal level, and economists are optimistic about avoiding a recession.
A lot of that trade is coming from Asia and going into the Mediterranean to the Mediterranean countries, especially the southern ones. We don't have a lot coming out of there going to the U.S.
This week, the Pentagon launched Operation Prosperity Guardian, a multinational security initiative to protect merchant vessels from ballistic missiles and drone attacks.
They need to stop. They're unacceptable. The United States, our allies and our partners will do what we have to do to counter these threats.
Now, a lot of people are looking at this through the lens of needing to bring supply chains to the United States to protect them from global economic volatility, like what we also saw during the pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Audra, what do we know about how much of a delay is added to cargo that's getting rerouted?
It's not negligible. To reroute from the Red Sea route to the Cape of Good Hope route, as it's called, which goes south of Africa, it adds more than 3,000 miles. And the CEO of Maersk said that could add 2 to 4 weeks to its shipping containers that have to be rerouted. So the longer this goes on, the more expensive it gets, not just for shipping companies, but consumers around the world.
Audra, thank you.
Thanks.
Right now, you're taking a look over Towson and over Baltimore. It is nice and quiet across our state, and for much of the region, we're dealing with a quiet pattern. A few showers over Texas and farther west. And next week, we will have our next chance for showers as we get ready for a weather maker later on. It looks good through the holidays, so nice for travel, nice for last-minute shopping. Currently 43 for the temperature over Baltimore with overcast skies. The wind chill is now coming in the 30s, so it's getting a little bit cooler outside. We're seeing actual temperatures in the upper 30s and the low 40s around Maryland with mostly cloudy skies. And even though we're mostly cloudy, we are nice and dry. We're seeing that dry pattern around the region thanks to high pressure dominating our pattern. Now, we'll stay nice and dry over the next few days, but farther west, there will be the chance for showers if you're heading that way ahead of Christmas. Tonight, we drop to the 20s and the 30s. Then tomorrow, we're looking at high temperatures gradually rising to the low to mid 40s. That's going to keep us slightly below average for this time of year. So for the first full day of winter, it is going to feel like that. But for holiday shopping and travel, a good day as we deal with a dry forecast around the region. We'll start the morning with cloudy skies, then by the afternoon, we'll start to have some breaks in the clouds, allowing in a little more sunshine, but the clouds will move in overnight, lingering into Saturday. You can expect a cloudy but dry day. Then for Sunday, a mix of sunshine and clouds. We'll stay nice and dry through Christmas, but immediately after that, we have our next weather maker, and that's going to lead to showers on Tuesday, Wednesday, and again on Thursday. If you plan on traveling after the holidays, make sure that you're staying up to date on the forecast and follow along for the latest. 30 for the low temperature tonight. It will be chilly. We'll start the day with freezing temperatures. Then by the afternoon, our highs will reach the mid 40s, keeping us below average, but we'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds by the afternoon. This is all ahead of a warm up that's going to last into next week. I'll let you know how high the temperatures get and what it looks like for Christmas coming up in the 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Dense fog has blanketed western Washington this week, but going above the clouds gives a crystal clear view of Mount Rainier and the top of the Space Needle. Up close, this looks like a collection of broken glass, but the big picture reveals there are ice shards gathering on Wisconsin's Lake Winnebago. And an early morning departure from Reno's airport highlights a gorgeous orange sunrise.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
Do you suffer from extreme, debilitating fatigue that you can't shake off with sleep? I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. New research on a chronic condition that has no cure, impacting millions of Americans.
Welcome back. A new study just released from the CDC is tracking the number of Americans who suffer from extreme chronic fatigue, which does not go away with rest and has no cure. The National Desk's Angela Brown breaks down that report.
The CDC releasing new numbers that 3.3 million Americans suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome. Fatigue they can't shake off with sleep, that is crushing and also debilitating. Overwhelming fatigue, not improved by sleep, brain fog, pain, dizziness. Just a few symptoms of ME/CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, affecting an estimated 1.3% of U.S. adults. Dr. Elizabeth Unger, chief of the Chronic Viral Disease Branch, leads the ME/CFS activities at the CDC.
ME/CFS has been studied for years and it's still poorly understood, but we do know that it has a biologic basis.
The CDC found women are more likely to suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome than men, and the percentage of adults with ME/CFS increases with age until 70 and then declines. Experts say the true estimate may be even higher because the condition is difficult to diagnose.
We do know there are many patients that are not recognized and not diagnosed. And even those then that are diagnosed, many of them sort of kind of give up on healthcare because they don't find it helpful.
With no cure in sight, Dr. Unger says the best thing we can do is spread awareness.
I would like people to know that this is a real horrible illness. And to be empathetic and caring on those that have it. They need our support. They need to be cared for just like anybody else with any serious illness like cancer.
The cause of chronic fatigue syndrome is unknown. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
We are getting ready for a drop in temperatures tomorrow, 45 for the first full day of winter, below average. Then we're back to the 50s on Saturday with mostly cloudy skies, 54 on Sunday, 56 and 10 degrees above average on Christmas Day, but rain will follow continuing through Thursday. After that, expect temperatures in the 40s for the upcoming weekend. Rebecca?
Thank you, Jasmine. And finally, tonight, the Baltimore Ravens are celebrating the holidays with a pop-up store at M&T Bank Stadium. Fans turned out to grab merch that you can't find anywhere else.